It's a great day here at KEKFILA's YouTube channel. I am the KEKFILA, and today I have a video, but I have a little bit of a lesson on top of that playing Queen that I've learned over the little past few days. And I want to say, I'm going to bring up an emphasis in this video where I make these few mistakes. But essentially, I'm learning from it, and you'll see here from this game, I do well in this game. Just so you know, it's not like one of those games where, oh, well, I did my best. But anyways, when it comes to Queen, one thing you want to remember is that when you're going to use your leader skill, you want to have, 4 less cards in hand when you do that. And sometimes that might be really hard if you don't have cards to play, or if you only have big guys and you need to play a big guy. So that's going to cost you like 9 Dawn. You only have 1 Dawn extra. So it's kind of rough when your hand's so big to do that. And there's going to be times when you need to overguard or guard and still take a damage. And I'm going to tell you the math and how to figure that out very fast. So when your opponent's attacking you, actually count how many cards you have in hand and how many cards you have in your life and add those up in total, and then add 1 card for the card you'll draw next turn. So if you have 4 in hand and you have 2 life and you have 1 card you're going to draw, that's 7. So 2 plus 4 equals 7. You want to bring that down to a total of 5 cards total. So you need to discard at least 2 cards this turn somehow. And when you do that, you'll have 5 cards. So you'll be able to, when you draw for your, the 5th card, you can play down a 9-drop and then attack, getting another life, right? So that's the first thing to remember. And that's some hard math I had to really put to myself. Really think about the 5-card issue there and be at 5 cards, but really count the card you're going to draw. And you can even take in effect if you ever have like a Sanji on top of your deck, if you've known that, but that adds a lot of complication. Try to keep it very simple unless you're playing Yamato. If you are planning to play a Yamato on your next turn, because it's what you have and it's going to be really great value, do the same math, but just -1, because you want to use Yamato skill and gain a life unless you're just not able to do so. You're not able to counter out in a certain way. And that might be kind of difficult to do so, but try to have 4 cards when you draw. So you might only have, if you have 1 life, you'll draw, so you have 3 in hand. You'll play down a Yamato and then use skill. Or if you have 0 life, you can actually gain a life and then use Yamato in that order, if it's easier for you. Unless you don't have a 9-drop on the field or 8-drop on the field, then you can't gain a life. But I hope that's been a pretty good lesson. But without further ado, I first want to say, if that helped you at all, please make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. And with that, I will be doing a lot more videos with this. I'll be streaming, actually, this video is coming out on Friday. I'm going to be streaming right after this comes out, actually. So come check out on my live stream at twitch.tv/KEKFILA. Come watch me play Queen at Carta Magica. And again, twitch.tv/KEKFILA, and I'll see you there. Without further ado, let's get into the goo. All right, and welcome back to the video. And I don't remember how the dice roll went, but I think I choose to go second here regardless. But let's see exactly. I think he is supposed to go first. So he maybe chose to go first if he won the die roll. But with that, again, this is Queen versus Zoro. I'm going second. He plays down a Buggy. Buggy ends up, drawing 5 cards here, or looking top 5, grabs 1 Fire Fist. So he already has that going for him. Kind of annoying for me. I don't even want to play a blocker now unless it's tall enough. Definitely not ever going to play 2 blockers, but my 2 Dawn turn, I don't have any play, so I don't play anything. And then he goes to his next turn, and, I read him actually out my skill, my leader card, because he does ask that, because it's first time playing against it. He goes 5k swing at me with his leader, and then he gives me a 5k swing with a character Zoro, which is good for me. I think that's not a great play from him. He could just be building, he could just play it and leave it. He wants me to attack his face, right? And honestly, he leaves me something else to attack. So I actually attach 1. I swing 6 at his character Zoro, and then he actually lets it go. I guess his hand was kind of hurting theirs, but I pay 3, and I am able to play down a pound. I read him what pound does. It can bottom deck a character on the bottom of a life. Definitely kind of saving me there in some situations, but he plays down a Marco. Marco, that card will get KO'd, and I will put down the buggy to the bottom of his life, face up. And again, I'm fine with him doing that, especially this game is not a race. It was different in a Rebecca matchup that I played recently. I probably shouldn't be doing that against Rebecca, but that's how that went. I use another pound as well for that Zoro character right there. And I actually first swing 7 at him because I had nothing else to do. Again, I maybe should just... I'm actually would be okay just not attacking him, but I felt it was okay maybe here. I pay 3 for a Doflamingo blocker. And that Doflamingo blocker is going to find me essentially my curve here for the next few turns. I would love to have some Yamatos for late game assurance. And I organized the top of my deck, and I'm not sure what order it would be, but it was an order. So I organized like that. I put the cards down like this, and my opponent goes to this. So he then draws for turn, goes to his 7 Dawn turn. And he thinks here for quite a minute, and I'm going to skip through a little bit of it. He throws a Dawn on his leader, and he swings 7 with his leader. I decide to take the damage. There was no trigger, right? And then he swung another 7 with his leader, and I block that. And then he puts this Zoro down. He's putting a lot of pressure on me. If he's putting me on like not a lot of cards in hand, he's doing the right thing. So he swings another 7 at me. I show him, I have a big hand, bro. You can't do anything about that. He swings 7 at me, and I'm forced to take the damage. So luckily I hit a red rock. I bottom deck the Zoro. I can't bottom deck the Marco with the trigger, but I bottom deck the Zoro, which is pretty good for me. And he plays down a Nami still. I actually jumped the gun going to my turn, but he plays out a Nami. I think he whiffed on that Nami search. So again, he's at 5 life. I'm at 1 life. I swing 5 at his leader, and you know, this is kind of me skill testing him, but you should just take this regardless. But I think he actually decides to discard out with an Ezo. I pay 8. I bought life his Marco. Put Marco on the bottom of his life. Again, now he's at 6 life, and I'm just kind of praying he doesn't go too aggressive or I get lucky. And I think I end up getting lucky here. So he goes with this turn here. Again, I have 7 cards in hand. He plays down a Dodon first. The Dodon grabs a Makino, and you can see me. You can't see it in my face. I go like this. Like, oh my god. So he's going to play down a Makino, hopefully. He actually puts a Dawn under his Dadan. I told him he can undo that. I told him you can undo that if you want to. I don't mind. Nothing has happened. And he said he urged me that no, I want to keep it. I'm like, okay, well, all right. Nice of him, but honestly, just take it back. Especially if I allow it, right? I rather lose in a normal game, but that's fine. And I was not gonna shark him in that way. I don't think it's that really sharking, you know. But there's much worse sharks out there. But he plays down a Makino, uses Makino, gets the Nami up to a total of 6,000 power, and he swings 6,000 at me. I give him a Gum Rain. I have to give him a 3k counter for that, which is pretty bad. He swings 6 at me with that, and I red rock trigger. I get rid of the standing Curly Dadan. And again, he still has 4 Dawn here. If he had a Rush Zoro, I lose there, but he plays that down. Lucky me, right? So I have, again, too many cards in hand to really do what I need to do in this situation. So I play down 9 for the Yamato, and it's going to KO up to a 6 cost. So I'm going to KO his Brook. I'm going to gain a life off of that. I'm not going to be able to gain a life off of my Coin Leader because I have too many cards. I'm bricked up in hand, right? So I swing 6 at his Makino, and I can't gain a life from that. So I clear out his field, completely. And now he has to sort of rebuild, or if he has a rush card that's also very, very strong. I'm basically dead to most rush cards here in this situation, but I don't remember if I stacked my life from this point. I think I did a little bit, but he plays down a Whitebeard Pirates card, and he ends up finding a Jozu, which again, he just needs a body out there. And he ends up doing is he swings for with his leader for 6,000 at my leader. I give him a Sasaki, a 2K counter, and he plays down two Jozus, and then I end up drawing again. I go back up to 5 cards in total, which I don't remember if I had a counter in hand or if I didn't. I think I'm still bricked up, so I play down another Yamato, and with that Yamato, I do get a life, but he does lose a Jozu, so Jozu gets KO'd. And again, I can't get an extra. Again, I have too many cards here. I swing 6 at him. I think I may have had a counter. I could have over countered, so I can get extra life. But I don't remember if I was bricked up. But if I wasn't bricked up, I should be countering extra here. So, I swing 8, 9, and 9. I'm giving him cards back in hand. I'm slowly going to beat him down here. My life is pretty happy. He has to get through quite a bit in order to kill me. Honestly, it's a pretty rough gameplay from here. I think most players might say that in general when it comes to this sort of matchup. So he first swings his Jozu for a total of 7 at me, I believe. With that 7, I think here for a moment. I take the trigger and I trigger the Sanji. I don't know if I stack that or not. But I discard a card out of my hand, which was a Mihawk, thank God. I needed to get a card out of my hand really bad. And then he swings another 7 at me, which I probably take in this situation. Or I block. I don't quite remember what I do. Let's see. He thinks here, and I'm waiting for him to actually swing. And he swings for 6 here, which I just gave him the blocker. I give him a blocker right away. And then he pays 5 for the Rush Luffy, because I have to respect that, right? Which he does do. And he's just going to swing 6 at me, which I just take that. And there's no trigger involved whatsoever. And again, he's at 3 life. I'm at 3 cards in hand. I'll actually go to 4 cards in hand when I draw for turn. Maybe I can, if I had a Yamato, this would be a pretty good turn to do so. But I don't know if that's actually a possibility. So it looks like I'm spacing my Dawn out to do things a little bit differently. And I first attach one under my Yamato and my leaders, kind of showing that I'm doing a few things differently. So I first swing 10 at his Luffy character. I'm trying to just survive. Again, I'm not killing him this turn, especially with 2 Dawn up. I swing 9 at his Luffy character. And then I swing 6 at his Jozu, and I decide to get a life. Again, I just need to take care of this Jozu, and then I can attack his leader a few more times. And then hopefully I don't get sacked out. So Jozu dies. I swing 8k at him, and he decides to take that and take that as well. So he took the 10k from this. I put down a blocker. I have 3 Dawn for another blocker, but I know he has a Fire Fist. I don't need to give him complete value. This 3-cost blocker in my hand is also a 1k counter. But that's what this is for. So if he Fire Fists, he's only getting value out of like 1 card, because I know he has a Fire Fist in there. So just playing around Fire Fist at this point. So with that, he actually ends up attaching a few Dawn on his leader, I believe 2. I just decide to block it. I have to respect the Rush Luffy. He plays down a Buggy. With Buggy, he searches out, I believe, he finds... Oh, he's playing down 2 Buggies. That's the main thing. He's just going to say, I'm going to play down 2 Buggies. So he'll find a Radical Beam with the first one, and with the second one, he will find a guard point. So he's getting a lot of counter. That's a total of 7,000 counter for 2 Dawn that he can add to his hand. And I don't really think he has any other play but just to end his turn from there. So he ends his turn with, I don't know, he plays an Izo down. With Izo, I believe he grabs a Marco, a 1k Marco. And with that, he ends his turn with 5 Dawn active. I can survive this. If I can remove a card. I can do things. I can gain a life. I am slightly worried, but I can poke him for lethal damage, but I don't have to go too committal here. So I swing 9k at his leader, and he ends up giving me actually a guard point and a 1k. He actually miscountered. He should give me a guard point and a 2k. I didn't notice that. My chat noticed that. It ended up not mattering, but it was close, right? So everyone's like, that's only 9k. But you know, I messed up there, right? So with that, I swing another 9k at him. He then thinks here just for a moment. He just takes that 9k damage. Again, I have so much Dawn active here. I end up doing is I end up swinging with my Katakuri for 11k. 11k to kind of see where he's at. I wanna get that guard point and the rad beam and like 2k and another counter out. So he rad beams, goes up to 9, and then he guard points going up to 11 or going up to 12. So pretty good from him there, right? So he's able to use 2 cards. So he has 2 Dawn left, and I'm like, well, you have this many counter. You technically can counter out of that because you still might have things. So I just decide to remove a card. So I'm doing the math in my head, and I do a lot of math of this. It's really bad. I gain a life, and I swing for 8k, and he can't guard out for the 8k, actually. So he gives me a 2k to 1k, and he had 3 Fire Fists. So I still won that game, even after wasting like 4 Dawn on this, and things of that nature. But I was able to come out with the win there. Regardless, but yeah, that's basically the whole game, guys. I appreciate all of you watching this game. Hope you learned something with a little bit of the math that comes behind gaining life. But make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is the round 9 tomorrow. And make sure to come watch me right now on twitch.tv/KEKFILA if you're watching us live, right, the same day of. On twitch.tv/KEKFILA, I will be playing a card of Magicka there. And we'll see how that goes. Well, see you guys in the next video. Ciao.